This is a good example of what you can do with the lamb broth and roasted lamb meat from my previous video. This is similar to a classic Greek stew, but the flavors are so rich here that it works better as a soup, being a bit thinner. The feta cheese you add in at the end gives it a unique creamy tang with just the right amount of extra saltiness. Yellow turnips are preferred here. They come in different sizes. Large ones will be more convenient because you have less peeling to do for the amount of material you get inside. Cut the tops and the bottoms off. Obviously this is a smaller one. After you cut the tops and bottoms off and you peel them, cut them into nice even dice because it'll look good on the plate. That'll result in some waste, I know. You're going to have edge pieces that are curved you'll have to discard. This is the intermediate phase. I've cut these into sheets that are about the same thickness with square edges, and this is all the trim. Now from here we just cut them into cubes. Get water to the simmering point, lightly salted water. Okay, I have our mise en place. I've got 450 grams of the lamb broth that was prepared earlier, about 150 grams of white beans, about 75 grams of boiled yellow turnip. You can use other vegetables as mentioned at the start of this video. About 120 grams of lamb that was from when we made the broth. It's just cubed into relatively small pieces, but not minced or anything. And 150 grams of passata and 4 cloves of garlic. These have been cut small, but they're not minced, and it certainly wasn't crushed with a garlic press. You want reasonable sized pieces so that they don't burn. Okay, this pan is quite hot. I'm going to add enough olive oil here to coat the bottom of the pan. I'm standing by here with a splatter guard. I am not going to add all of the passata. I'm going to add about half of it. And as soon as the initial splattering is done, I'm adding a teaspoon of sugar. Let it cook. Still, the heat's on 8 out of 1 to 10. It's quite hot. I'll let it cook until it simmers down just a little bit. 15-20 seconds. Won't take long. You can hear it. It's already greatly reduced in the heat output there. Okay. Now I'm adding all of the lamb. Splatter guard goes back on. Okay, it's been about 1 more minute. I'm just going to spread this lamb out a little bit more. I'm not really stirring it. You know from my other videos what I have to say about stirring in this sort of situation. Don't do that. Resist the temptation. And about 30 seconds more. Now I'm going to add the rest of the passata. I'm still not stirring it. Yeah, it's been 2 or 3 minutes more. Now I can finally stir this some. And I'm going to add some of this lamb broth to it. Like the equivalent of about a ladle full. I'm going to bring this up to a simmer. Don't really need the splatter guard now because it's mostly water. It won't splatter too much. Okay, it's certainly at a boil now. I've reduced the heat down now to about 4.5 out of 1 to 10. We're going to cook this. We want the lamb to kind of like braise a second time. We want it to be really, really soft here. So we're going to cook this until it's almost dry, but not too quickly. We're going to do it on a heat of, like I said, about 4.5. So it'll take a little while to get to that stage. And during this reduction, you can stir it occasionally. It's not like the first part at all. I've actually reduced the heat down a little bit further to about 4, from 4.5 to 4 here, as it starts to get quite thick. It's been about 9 minutes now. Now I'm going to add that garlic in. And we're going to cook this for about a minute or 2 here.
been about 2 minutes here. You can see this is quite thick. Garlic is extremely aromatic at this point. Now I'm going to add in the rest of that lamb broth. And the beans. White beans. And previously cooked yellow turnips. And we're going to simmer it like this for just a little bit. You might need to adjust the salt. You might need to adjust the amount of water in here. If this is too thick for you, it isn't for me, but it is for some people, then you can add a little bit more water in. You know, just a little bit, you know. Make it the consistency that's comfortable for you. And we're going to simmer this like this for 5 to 10 minutes on a low simmer.
The second volume of my cookbook is now available through Amazon and other booksellers. It covers the YouTube recipes from the last 8 months with more in-depth information. I received requests for the procedures on all recipes, and I've listened to you. Every recipe has step-by-step directions, and of course there are recipes that aren't on YouTube. But this is not just a recipe book. Far from it, as you can see from some of the topics scrolling by here. I'm certain that anyone who watches my channel and any serious cook will find this book a treasury of useful and new information you won't find anywhere else. If you want to know more about my adventures as a chef around the world and have some great laughs along the way, be sure to check out the video tour of my book, 40 Years in One Night. It's up on YouTube right now. Click the link. Also look for my cocktail book, Cocktails of the South Pacific and Beyond, Advanced Mixology, available through Amazon online.